Have you ever thought about someone and then suddenly they message you out of the blue? Have you ever noticed the same numbers repeating again and again, like 111 or 444? Or felt like a song playing just answered the question you were quietly asking in your mind? If so, you're not making it up, you're witnessing synchronicity, and once you truly understand what synchronicity is, your whole world begins to shift because it's not random, it's not luck, and it's never just coincidence. It's communication, it's the universe speaking directly to you, and when you learn to really listen, everything begins to move differently. Let's look closer. Imagine standing in front of an unseen web, one that connects you to everyone and everything. This isn't fantasy, it's frequency, and just like a spider senses vibration through the strands of its web, you too can feel when the universe is tapping your shoulder. That tap is called synchronicity, and it always has meaning, but there's a catch. It only works if you're awake enough to notice. If your mind is lost in yesterday or racing toward tomorrow, you'll miss the signs. But if you are truly here in the now, quiet, present, aware, the universe begins speaking to you directly. Synchronicity becomes the language, and reality becomes the message, like breadcrumbs left for you to follow if you're tuned in enough to see them. So why does synchronicity appear, and how can we invite more of it? Think of every thought you have as a frequency being broadcast. Each one sends a signal out into the quantum field, and that signal is looking for a match. It looks for people, experiences, opportunities that resonate with your energy. So when you think of someone and they show up, it's not magic, it's a match. When you feel in flow and life lines up perfectly, it's not chance, it's coherence. Synchronicity is the physical echo of inner alignment. It's the universe saying, yes, I hear you, I feel you, I'm with you, and it's not vague or abstract, it's tangible, it's trackable, it's real. Synchronicity might look like meeting the right person at the perfect moment, finding the exact words you needed in a book you didn't plan to pick up, hearing lyrics that crack open a stuck decision, receiving money just when it felt like hope was running out. And it doesn't always arrive loud, sometimes it's quiet, gentle, soft, but it's always meaningful, and the more you pay attention, the more often it shows up, because attention is energy, and in the quantum field, energy grows where focus flows. The more you value synchronicity, the more the universe delivers it. But here's what many get wrong: they chase synchronicity like it's a code to hack the universe. They demand signs, try to force meaning, and push for control, but it doesn't work that way. Synchronicity isn't forced, it's felt. It meets you where you are. It aligns with who you've become, so the real path isn't control, it's coherence. So how do you become someone who lives in alignment with synchronicity? First, quiet the noise. If your inner world is chaotic, filled with fear, doubt, judgment, you're jamming the signal like a radio caught between stations. To hear clearly, you must create space, calm, stillness, because synchronicity lives in the in-between, between thoughts, between moments, between the push and the pull. Second, feel before thinking. The universe doesn't speak in words, it speaks in vibration, and your emotions are the signals it reads. So when you feel deep gratitude with no obvious reason, when you feel joy without needing a cause, when you feel love just because you are, that is a broadcast the universe can't ignore, and it responds, maybe not in the form you expect, but always in the form you need. Third, honor the nudge. Synchronicity often begins as a quiet impulse, a subtle tug toward a certain place, a pull to call a certain person, an urge to follow a link, open a book, sit in stillness, and when you ignore these nudges, the signal weakens. But when you follow them even without knowing why, the path opens up, one step at a time, like the universe laying puzzle pieces in front of you, waiting for you to trust the next one. Synchronicity rewards trust, not once, but consistently, because trust is not just an act, it's a vibration, and that vibration attracts clarity, and clarity attracts alignment, and alignment attracts more synchronicity. It becomes a loop, a rhythm, a flow, and you are the source. Here's what's even more wild: synchronicity doesn't just reflect your current thoughts, it mirrors your evolution. The more you grow, the more the messages grow with you. The more you remember who you really are, the more the field remembers how to respond, because the field is not outside you, it is you. It's within and around you, part of your breath, your awareness, your choices, and synchronicity is the evidence that this field is alive, responsive, and listening even if you've forgotten the language. You're remembering now, aren't you? You're remembering what it feels like when life stops pushing and starts flowing, when the right thing shows up without effort, when the impossible quietly becomes normal. That's synchronicity. And this isn't just a spiritual idea, it's a scientific principle. Carl Jung called it meaningful coincidence, but today's physics calls it non-local connection, the idea that events can be connected beyond time and space, beyond logic and linearity. The quantum field doesn't care about distance or delay, it cares about resonance. And when your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs are tuned to a clear frequency, you begin shaping the field, and the field shapes you right back. That's what synchronicity is: the form that influence takes, the pattern that emerges when you're finally in rhythm with life. The more you practice seeing it, the faster your world bends, because you stop reacting and start co-creating. You stop asking why and start asking, what is this moment revealing? what reflection is being offered, what direction is showing itself, and when you shift from control to curiosity, you unlock a whole new level of reality, one where the universe is not random, not silent, not separate but a living rhythm you are in tune with, not a puzzle to solve but a partner to dance with. This shift changes everything. It changes how you listen, how you move, how you trust, because synchronicity isn't about chasing magical signs, it's about recognizing mirrored messages, reminders that you are never random, never alone, and that your life is not being dictated by chance but directed by frequency. Synchronicity deepens when you align with it as an active participant, not a passive observer. To do that, you must become the curator of your own frequency. You need to sense what you're transmitting not only through thoughts but through the energy you carry. Most people ask the universe for love while vibrating fear. They call in abundance while clutching scarcity. They seek clarity while drowning in confusion. Yet the field doesn't answer your words, it reflects who you are. And who you are is defined by your consistent vibration. If you want new synchronicities, you must emit a new signal. But you don't have to become someone new, you need to return to who you always were, before the noise, the programming, the pretending. Live from that truth, and your world begins to synchronize with you, because the field resonates with authenticity. Congruence means your thoughts align with your feelings align with your actions, and your actions align with your essence. When all that lines up, synchronicity speeds up, it becomes your compass, your validation, your guide. And synchronicity shows up in the small ways too. The perfect word when you most need it, a stranger's phrase that resolves something inside, the solution that appears just when you've stopped chasing one. And once you sense it, you can't unsee it. Once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. Synchronicity is addictive in the highest, most sacred sense. It trains your nervous system to trust, softens your mind, and enables your heart to lead. This marks the shift from control to connection, from pushing to pulsing, from force to flow. Paradoxically, the less you chase synchronicity, the more it finds you. It thrives in stillness, not striving. It meets you when you're present, not when you're frazzled. It shows up when you're fully real, not performing. Want more synchronicity? Be more present. Take pauses. Listen deeply. Ground into your body, your breath, your being. Synchronicity is subtle, like a persistent thread tugging at your sleeve. And when you follow it, it unravels old stories, energies that block you, illusions that stole your path. It guides you toward a journey that feels like returning home, not chasing success, a path that feels like remembering who you are, not inventing who you should be. And that path is yours alone, only your soul can hear its call. So stop outsourcing direction and start listening within. The universe is always speaking, but to the volume of your willingness to hear. That willingness is not your worth, not your perfection, it is your presence. When you're present, you see more, hear more, feel more, because you're not lost in thought, you are rooted in experience. That moment is where synchronicity lives, where the field meets form, where invisible becomes visible. The more you live there, the more natural it becomes, until synchronicity isn't rare, but baseline. Until magic isn't occasional, but ordinary. Until you don't just notice signs, you are the sign. That is the highest expression, to stop seeking signals and become one. When your life reflects the possibility for others, your energy becomes an invitation for them to awaken. Synchronicity ripples like that. When you're around someone who lives through it, their timing, their glow, their ease, it's not luck, it's alignment. And alignment is a choice, born of countless micro-decisions. Returning to self, returning to truth, returning to presence. That's the journey. You're not discovering a path, you're realizing you are the path. You stop wondering whether the universe hears you and recognize it always has. And now you're finally fluent in its language, not through words, but through vibration. Not through effort, but through essence. And the universe answers with echoes, with symbols, with nudges, with knowing. That knowing becomes your superpower, the quiet certainty that says, I don't need proof to believe. I believe and therefore I'll see it. It's the key that turns possibility into reality. It's the lever that moves mountains in the quantum realm. Belief before evidence. Trust before proof. Vibration before result. And once you live that way, the field shifts to align with you, not because you're special, but because you're coherent. Not because you asked, but because you are. And when you are the signal, synchronicity ceases to be a goal and becomes a natural byproduct of being true to yourself. If right now you're wondering when the next synchronicity will appear, ask instead, am I living in the signal of who I truly am? Or am I waiting for the world to affirm my worth? The answer to that question determines your timing, the shape of your unfolding, the nature of your synchronicities. And remember, the universe doesn't operate on time, it operates on clarity. And clarity emerges through congruence. Congruence comes from choosing your truth again and again until life answers back. When that happens, you won't just notice synchronicity, you'll live it. You'll breathe in it. You'll become it. Because it is everywhere, everything, and everything you've always been. This isn't a technique you learn, it's a frequency you return to. It's not new. It's ancient. It's imprinted in your very being, written in the code of your DNA, guiding you long before you had language to describe it. And now that you're finally listening, now that your present synchronicity begins to arrive, not as fantasy but as reflection, not as coincidence but as alignment, not as luck but as law. A law that doesn't punish or reward but mirrors and responds. It responds to your signal. And when your signal is clear, when your energy matches your essence, when your choices echo your truth, your path bends, your future accelerates, and your world begins to mold itself in ways logic can't predict. Because these shifts aren't built by logic, they're born from resonance. And resonance works faster than reasoning, it organizes reality quicker than any plan, it warps time and space into moments that feel like fate. But they're not fate. They're choices that look like destiny because they come from deep inner clarity. This is what happens when your presence is louder than your fear, when your breath tells more truth than your doubt, when your actions begin to harmonize with your highest frequency. And those actions start to echo, rippling out into everything your energy meets. And your energy meets everything. Which means your emotions matter. Your expectations matter. What you repeat matters. But this isn't pressure, it's power. Not burden but blessing. Because once you really know this, everything changes. You stop giving away your power. You stop waiting for signs to permit you. You stop asking the world to validate you. You start creating. You start tuning. You start responding not to the noise of life but to the pulse of your soul. And your soul has always known the way. It speaks through dreams and patterns, through timing and gut pulls. You don't have to figure it out, you just have to trust it. Trust enough to follow the tug even when it doesn't make sense yet. Even when no one else can see it yet. Because synchronicity isn't built on explanation, it's built on embodiment. It's not about persuading others, it's about becoming yourself. And as you do, as you align and attune, the field around you starts to shift. It rearranges. It dances. And this isn't abstract, it's physical. It's cellular. You feel it every time your chest softens, every time your breath steadies, every time you listen to a full body yes and actually act on it. The field shifts because you shifted. And that movement creates momentum. And momentum leads to more coherence. And coherence leads to waves of synchronicity that seem impossible until you realize they're not. They're inevitable. Because you've stopped living from the outside in. You're finally living from the inside out. And that changes everything. It changes the timing, the pace, the pathway. It erases the lag between desire and manifestation, between prayer and answer, between vision and opportunity. And the doors that open? They don't open because you earn them, they open because you match them. Because you held your frequency long enough for reality to catch up. Most people never get there not because they can't but because they waver. They doubt. They pull back their signal before the gate can unlock. But not you. You're here because you're done wavering. You're done waiting. You're done asking. You're ready to anchor. To hold. To harmonize. And harmony is your new superpower. It's not hustle. It's not strategy. It's magnetic alignment, and from that place, everything begins to assemble around you. Life doesn't resist you, it starts conspiring with you. Synchronicity becomes the way life talks to you, reminding you you're in sync, on time, surrounded by the right people, doing the right thing. Not because you forced it, but because you finally felt it. And when you feel something long enough, you don't chase it, you become it. It becomes your new frequency, your new normal, your new tempo. And rhythm is everything. It's how you move with the unseen, how you dance with the field, how you draw miracles into the ordinary and make them repeatable. And when miracles become routine, when magic becomes muscle memory, when synchronicity becomes structure, you're no longer playing the game, you're designing it. And design doesn't happen by accident, it's created by conscious repetition. By choosing alignment often enough that it becomes reality. Holding it long enough that it becomes a lifestyle. And this is your life now. This is your reality. And every breath you take in alignment is a signal to the universe, bring me more of this peace, this trust, this coherence. And that's why the real work isn't in doing more, it's in being more still, more clear, more honest, more embodied. Because presence is the seed, attention is the water, breath is the light. And the more you live that way, the less you need to force anything, because life begins to move with you. It synchronizes, it cooperates. And this isn't about control, it's about coherence. Coherence breeds clarity. And clarity dissolves confusion. And when the confusion dissolves, the field can finally speak. And when it speaks, you know. Not because you figured it out, but because you felt it. And felt truth always travels faster than thought. It cuts deeper than fear. And that truth, that inner knowing, is why you're here. To remember it, to trust it, to live it. And when this truth returns to you not just once, but every day, not just in calm moments, but in chaotic ones, that's when the shift takes root, that's when your signal locks, and that's when you step fully into the role of your own alignment's architect. Because alignment isn't a mood. It's not a fleeting moment. It's a motion, a discipline, a frequency you strengthen every time you choose resonance instead of resistance, every time you decide to stay grounded while the world spins wild, every time you let your inner rhythm dictate your outer action. And when that rhythm is real, when your internal note stays steady, the world begins to sync with it. People arrive. Doors unlock. Paths unfold, not because you forced it, but because you found the frequency that makes those things unfold naturally. And that frequency is you, not the filtered you, not the programmed version, not the you that waits to be picked, but the you who picks. The one who owns their presence as more than enough, whose energy speaks before words, whose congruence is the signature the universe has been waiting to recognize. Because the universe is listening, always responding, always interwoven with your frequency. And now that you're tuned, now that you're awake, now that you're in flow, synchronicity becomes your inner navigation. It becomes the universe's nod, the wink from the quantum field, the clear affirmation. Yes, this is aligned. Yes, this is it. Yes, this is your path. And all that's required is that you listen, not with your ears, but with your essence, not with your thoughts, but with your presence, not with your doubt, but with devotion. And that devotion to your own frequency, your own integrity, your own truth is what forms the link between what's unseen and what's unfolding. It's what transforms visions into reality, intentions into impact, and dreams into lived experience. This isn't coincidence, this isn't random, this isn't luck, this is physics. This is how energy behaves. This is how the field translates coherence into form. And when you truly trust this, when you stop replaying old limitations and start living in new liberation, everything flows. Smoother, sharper, softer. Because you're no longer pleading for a reality you haven't matched. You're demonstrating a truth that's already real. And the world reflects that. Just like mirrors do. Just like magnets do. Just like music does. And your music is being heard. It's resonating. It's being followed. Which means your task now is not to convince, it's to guard your frequency, it's to stay tuned, stay true, stay whole, even when the noise gets loud, even when the doubt creeps, and even when the echoes of old stories try to tug you back into an outdated rhythm that no longer suits your soul. You will feel the pull. You'll feel that stretch between who you were and who you are, between comfort and freedom, between history and possibility. But that stretch isn't punishment, it's an invitation, an opening, a sacred pause, a moment to breathe and realign. Because every choice is a chance to rewire the rhythm. And the rhythm is always evolving. The field is always responding. The script is always in rewrite. And your only responsibility is to keep your tone steady, the tone that says, I am already worthy, I am already aligned, I am already invited. And if you hold that note long enough, it returns to you. It comes back as signs and synchronicities, as people and moments and insights you couldn't have scheduled, but that somehow always show up on time. This is what synchronicity is, not just an idea but a companion. Not a fluke but a pulse. A constant rhythm. A living signal. And rhythm is everything. It's the new force field, the new language, the new map. And when you follow it, not blindly but bravely, not from fear but from clarity, not chasing but choosing, you realize the truth. Reality was never something outside of you. It was always waiting on you. And now that you've arrived, now that you're in frequency, the universe stops hesitating. It doesn't say maybe. It doesn't say almost. It says yes. A clear yes. A yes that echoes and affirms, a yes that ends the questioning and begins the knowing. And that knowing shifts your timeline. Because the when is now. Always now. Now is the only portal, the only access point, the only signal the field can fully meet. Now is where magic feels mechanical, not because it's ordinary but because it's stabilized. Because you've become ready. And ready doesn't mean flawless, it means present. And you are present now. To now. Align now. And now is the most powerful activation in the entire field. It's the only language the quantum truly understands. Because the now is where coherence pulses. And coherence is what creates. It's the hum of alignment, the breath of manifestation, the code of transformation. And you're breathing it now. You're pulsing with it now. You're living it now. And now that you're living this, everything begins to shift, not because reality changed by chance, but because you changed by choice. And choice is the lever that moves timelines. It's the pivot of frequency, the spark that transforms potential into presence. And your presence, that's the power. Not a performance, not a mask, not a projection. But your raw, rooted, radiant self. The kind of presence that doesn't shake when silence falls. The kind that doesn't shrink when signals get strong. The kind that stays solid because it remembers the field doesn't react to noise, it responds to depth. And when you're grounded, when your note is clear, when your yes comes from embodiment, reality starts to harmonize. The universe becomes your echo. Each thought held in clarity begins to etch form. Each emotion aligned with truth starts to mold experience. Each breath taken in awareness starts building a bridge to what's already aligned. And what's next? It's no longer a guess, it's a gravitational match. It's not a risk, it's resonance. It's the magnetic return of everything that speaks your language. And this is where synchronicity becomes sacred. Not just as magic, but as structure. Not just as marvel, but as map. And the map isn't a path you're following, it's the presence you're becoming. And the more you become, the more life meets you there. People rise with you. Time folds with you. Reality bends toward you not because you forced it, but because you fit it. You found it. You felt it. And that feeling, meeting the moment without flinching, that's the mastery synchronicity invites you into. Over and over and over. Until you stop searching for signs and realize you are one. Until you stop needing confirmation and realize you're the confirmation. Until your life itself becomes the reflection of resonance, the outcome of inner order, the living proof of alignment remembered. And that remembering, that's the revolution. Not a loud one, not a noisy one, but a quantum one. The kind that whispers in presence, that hums in quiet, that says you've always been it, you are it now. And now the field knows it too, because you finally believe it, not as a hope, as a way of being. And that being, that is the frequency, the ritual, the signal, the key. And that key is active now. That current is moving now. That field is listening now. Because now is the only doorway where everything is possible. Now is the moment you choose again. Now is the breath that brings you home. Now is the remembering that reconnects you not to something new, but to something timeless. To the pulse beneath the thought. To the beat behind the plan. To the rhythm of your infinite being. And in that pulse the field responds, yes, I see you. Yes, I feel you. Yes, I mirror you. And that reflection is the sign. That congruence is the way. That synchronicity is your language now. And that language is love, the original tone, the first signal, the root vibration behind it all. And now it's yours. Now that music is you. Now the field doesn't just echo you, it sings with you. It breathes with you. It becomes with you. Because you're no longer just inside reality. You are helping design it. And that is the miracle. That is the method. That is the magic in the engine. The mystery in the map. The reason synchronicity was never a surprise. It was always the signature of your arrival. And now you're here. You're clear. You're true. And reality is finally ready to meet you.